53.46 miles, 16 hours, 17 minutes, over 16,000 feet of elevation climbed, and a whole lot of pain. That was my first ultramarathon experience. I'm here to tell you about it, what I went through, what the training looked like, and all the support I had, and what race day was all about. So I've spent the last 3 months training for this ultra. It was at Canonsburg Ski Hill. The requirements for the 50 miler was up the quad, down the double 76 times, and then two 2-mile trail loops in the woods. I spent the last 3 months training, as I said. I would get there early, 3 or 4 days a week, and I would just run that loop over and over and over again. It was an amazing, amazing experience. I can't believe I could do something like that and that God could put me through something like that. So here I just want to go through some of the training, some of the stats behind it, and some of the support, and then race day, what that looked like as I reflect a couple days after this, what that's looking like. So right now, my legs are starting to heal. It's 3 or 4 days after the race. It's been a tough 2 days, and then the third day, it did get better. There's been lots of Epsom salt baths, lots of ice baths, lots of eating protein and carbs, and drinking electrolytes to refuel. But it definitely was a painful experience at the end of the race and after the race. So that is the truth there. It's a very painful thing to go through. So training for me started about 3 months ago when I heard about the race from a friend named Jared. He had saw me hiking at Canonsburg up the hill, and we were at the top of the ski lift on the quad, and he asked me, what I was there for, what I was training for. It seemed like everybody there was training for something, whether it was a hunt that they were going on or some ultra or some sort of hike or experience they were training for. And I didn't have anything. I was just out there because it was a better thing than I was doing a year ago. So he recommended this event to me. He told me about it, sent me a text with the info about it, and within a week, I think I was signed up for it. So that was 3 months out. I had 12 weeks to train for this 50 miler, and I got right to work. I put together a training plan using ChatGPT. That's been honestly a huge help through all the training. Any questions I have about why my body's feeling this way, or if I'm doing enough, if I should be doing less, I've just thrown it in the ChatGPT, and it's usually got a good answer, right? It searches the whole internet and gives me pretty good feedback. So ChatGPT created me a training plan that was 12 weeks long that I could go through. So I printed it out and then tracked what I did each week. So it consisted of a few phases. The first 4 weeks were just the build phase, getting my body used to extra mileage and extra elevation. So that was about 12 to 20 miles per week. The first week I did 16 miles, and by the end of that I was at 28 miles. In that could be multiple different types of workouts. That can be at the hill itself, or that can be running around a track, or just going for a trail run, or going through a run through Rockford, right? There was some climb involved in that, and there was some intensity involved in that, and there were some just base easy workouts to get my body and my legs used to running, since this had never been something I ever did. The next 4 weeks after that were the build phase, where I was building extra miles, building extra elevation. The first week of that, I was at 24 miles and about 6,000 feet climbed. And at the end of that week, I was at 42.5 miles with 9,000 feet climbed. So I was just looking at weekly miles. How many weekly miles can I add up? That was the recommendation I got, was look at how many weekly miles you're doing to be able to complete 50 in 1 day. And the last 2 weeks were the peak phase, where you're getting the most miles you can in. I did that on week 9. I did 55 miles in that week with 12,000 feet climbed. My key workout in training was 26 miles at the hill, so I did half of the race. So I did 38 laps around the hill, and then I went in the woods and did one of the 2-mile trail loops. Throughout that, I also practiced my nutrition on that day. I was eating as I would be on race day. I was drinking electrolytes as I would be on race day, and I even had my support person, Marcella, my girlfriend, come out and practice supporting, right? So if I needed anything, she was there, and I really, really appreciated that. And then the last 2 weeks before the race, after I peaked, I went back and tapered a little bit. So I had way less miles, way less elevation. I was getting my body healed and recovered for race day, and planning all the logistics of what am I going to bring, what am I going to be eating, and who do I want to be there at this race. When it came to race day and having a support system around me, man, all the people in my life really showed up. It was really, really awesome to see everybody come out and support me. I'm so thankful for all of you. A couple specific shout outs I want to give is to my girlfriend Marcella. She had been there with me through all the training, lots of days where I was gone for training for hours, and she put up with that and encouraged me to go shoot for my goals. She knew that if I put my mind to it and I had my heart in the right place, it was possible. There was no doubt in her mind that I was going to get this done. I might have had more doubt than she did. So she was always there encouraging me, and when my legs were shot for the day, she was okay to just stay in the house with me or do relaxing things together. Marcella was also my support person at the race. So when you're at a race like that for over 12 hours, right, you need somebody there that you can count on if you run out of ice, if you run out of food, or if something goes wrong. There's always something that goes wrong or something that you didn't think about. And for me, what I didn't think about was sunscreen. It was 80 degrees and sunny that day, and I hadn't packed sunscreen. I also needed a long sleeve shirt to get out of the sun for a little bit. And I just needed somebody there to encourage me, cheer me on, someone I could give a kiss when it was getting tough. Another shout out I want to give is my dad. My dad actually did this race with me. He's 53 years old. He has a fake hip on one side, and he did all this training with me. A few weeks after I signed up, it sounded like a good idea to him too. So having somebody there to go through all the training with was awesome. It can be very lonely out there by yourself, and I didn't realize that when I signed up. So my dad probably did it to support me, right? To be there for me in this journey I was going on, but he also crushed it himself. He was out there at the exact same time as me, showed up for the training, and then on race day, he went 16 hours as well. He's 53 years old, he went 16 hours out on the hill and ended up doing 44 miles. His biggest training run was 15 miles, and he ended up going 44. That's amazing. The rest of my family, like my mom and brother, were always there to support me too. I'm super, super thankful I have a support system like that. And then I even had some friends come out and support me too that I didn't expect to be there like they were. Super, super thankful for that. They all showed up, left me encouraging notes, and even made me some signs, brought me some snacks. So that was a huge part of my success in this race, was having a support system around me that I could count on, and that every time I came down that loop, I could see them, even if I wasn't in a good mood or I was in a lot of pain and didn't want to talk to anybody. They were there, and I could just know that they were there. Last person I want to shout out is Jared, who told me about this race 3 months ago. He's been kind of my coach through all this. Every time I have a question and I need to answer from someone who's been through something like this before, I could text Jared, and he had a full paragraph of answers for me. He was always there when I needed an answer, and he even came out to train with me on that long training run. So Jared, you got me into all this pain, and there's that. But you also got me into something I truly enjoyed and was able to push myself to the limits through. So thank you for telling me about this race and being there for me as a coach and mentor through my first ultra. Thank you, Jared. So race day, what that looked like, I had lots of plans put together. I've been very analytical with my training and what race day was going to look like, and I think that paid off, being prepared ahead of time. So I prepared a list of all the stuff I had to bring, right? I had a big bag of stuff. We had a tent and a table and a cooler at the site, and I brought lots of extra stuff I didn't need, but it was great to have it anyway, like shorts, shirts, and all that, and any sort of gear you're going to be wearing, and then any sort of painkillers like ibuprofen and Advil that you're going to need, and then tape and body glide, all that stuff. Having that prepared ahead of time was really, really helpful. I also prepared a list of what I was going to eat every 5 laps or every hour. I was going to have a liquid IV every hour, and then I tracked through gels and Nature Valley bars and Cliff bars what I would be eating through all that to get the right calories to not burn out. So I had this little paper with me the whole time, and as I went through each 5 laps or each hour, I checked off the box, and that was encouraging to make sure I was on the right track. I was fueling myself the right way, and it kept me on track. And it can get a little repetitive when you're going around the same hill that many times for that long. It's a very weird experience being out there for that long. A few hours feels like just a few minutes sometimes, but at the end you really do feel it every lap. When I showed up on race day, the support crew there was awesome. The race directors and everybody there was so encouraging. They were willing to help you with anything you needed. Everybody there is pushing themselves to the limit, and there's no real competition involved. Everyone's out there trying to attempt like the impossible, right? And just the comments you get and the conversations you have walking up and down that hill is awesome. People are so encouraging, they're giving you compliments, and we're all in this pain together. So I really enjoyed that part of the race. I never felt that camaraderie before in something like this. That was awesome. So I'm really thankful to the race directors and for all the people that were out there going through this with me. Thank you guys. The race started off really good. My training had paid off. I was probably at that hill more than anyone, right? Since I lived so close to the hill, I was there all the time. In the mornings, getting the training in. So I was used to the track. I was used to the elevation. So the first half or 3/4 of the race went as planned. It could have gone a lot worse. Something could have popped up in my knee or my hip or anything, right, that could have got me off track, but somehow I got through the first half or first 3/4 of the race pretty well. We were feeling pretty strong, my dad and I, and we had stuck to our fueling plan. Everything was going well. The first trail loop I did in the trails at Canonsburg was really tough. There were leaves everywhere on the course. It was hard to see any roots or rocks that were coming up, so I almost ate it twice. I was in a lot of pain coming out of that. My knees were blown up, but I took a break from the trail run, did a few more laps, felt better, and then went for my second trail loop with my dad, and we felt a little better after that. We went a little slower, then we got back to the hill. Everything was going pretty good, right? But the last 10 to 15 laps, once it got dark around 7 or 8 o'clock, I still had 3 hours left to go. And every loop after that, as I was running downhill, got more painful and more painful. I was doing pretty good uphill, but as soon as I got to the top and had to start jogging down the double, man, it hurt. I can't explain the pain. It was probably the worst pain I've ever had in my entire life. At the very end, right? It just got worse and worse and worse. I went slower and slower and slower down that hill, but kept it moving. I was so close to the finish that kept me going. I had been training for this for a long time, so I knew I wanted to finish it and push through that pain. It was a very spiritual moment. I had a lot of talks with God through that moment of what I was going through. I was thankful I could be out there and be able to experience something like this. Having my support system at the bottom was awesome and helped get me through the pain. But yeah, that's something that probably is a given when you sign up or do something like this, is pain. There's a point you get to where it's just so painful and you got to make a decision to keep going or to ease off, right? And I decided to keep going, and I'm so thankful I did. Having my dad out there was awesome because I know he was hurting just as bad as I was, so we could connect in that way, and I knew I wasn't alone in my pain, and the race directors and everybody there helped push me through the pain. I had smiled most of the race, the first maybe 12, 13 hours of the race. I was smiling every time I came down. I was thankful to be out there. I had joy to be out there, but I'm pretty sure that smile faded the last 3 hours. I was just trying to get through the pain. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I just wanted to get this thing over with. We finished it in 16 hours. That last lap was the worst. As far as the pain, that last lap was the worst, but I took a break at the top to take a knee, sit down, soak in all that was happening, and then when I came back down, I had a whole support system of people rooting for me and giving me congratulations on something like that. So that's my experience of an ultramarathon at Canonsburg. It's the first one I did. I'm not sure what the future holds. I probably will do something like that again since I enjoyed it so much. A year ago, God intervened in my life. If that wouldn't have happened a year or two ago, there's no chance I would have done something like this. he pulled me out of a place where I was out of shape. I was running from him. I was not in good habits, and I was not doing anything to better my life, right? He had given me such a great life and so much grace and blessings, but I was throwing those all away, right? But he took a moment, intervened in my life. I had to go through some tough times because of that, right? But that is the reason why I could do something like this today. It's a full year of growth, a full year of coming back to God and seeing what's possible. What is God's will that he wants me to be doing? I just tried to lean into that. So this race was almost like a celebration of the last year. All that pain I was putting myself through and putting God through. Thankfully, he intervened and was able to bring me out of that place. So I was just so happy and joyful and smiling because I'm not there anymore. I truly believe if you have God on your side and you turn to him, anything is possible. I was not sure I would do something like this ever, right? That was not in my plans, but it was a great positive thing for me. And I hope you guys have some encouragement from that. I hope maybe I can run with you guys sometime. I'm going to give it a week or two before I'm back running like that again. But I'll keep you guys updated on what the next race might be. I'll keep you guys updated on the recovery. But that is an experience I will never forget. I'm so thankful to everyone that was out there with me. And I'm thankful to God for pulling me from that situation. Let me know what God has pulled you from and what ways you are celebrating that and leaning into this new life God has for you. So I'm thankful for all you guys for letting me share about this. This is a special moment. Midwest Everest. Maybe I'll be back next year, but that's my story from this year. Thank you for watching. Keep crushing it, guys. Reach out if you need anything. Reach out if you've had any other similar experiences with ultramarathons or getting back into fitness in your life. I'm so thankful to hear about it. You guys are crushing it. I'm proud of you. God bless.